I'm a roller with stars and I'm smoking on platinum. Got my eye on the prize, so I don't do this.
Man, oh man. We're back. The
Smalls like
basketball talks, man. We got the basketball talks for you. And we got a nice little yo, what it do? Boys, Juice
Mr.
and Lou,
Yo.
we back here. We back. We back with another banger for y'all, man. And I've been on Twitter. I've been on Instagram. I've been scrolling, and there's been some news lately and some conspiracy of people saying that LeBron James is a team killer. Now, this is what I mean by that, or this is what they mean by that. They mean LeBron goes to a team, trades away all the pieces to get the team that he wants, and when he's done, he leaves. Now the team is going through it for however long. So we're here. Is he not too long? But we're here to talk about, is LeBron a team killer? So, J. Lou, I would let you go first, but you played for my team. So I think I should
He
go.
did.
I think I should go. So let's look at his first stint in
Intrigued.
Cleveland, right? I think he was too young to call the shots, even though he was, doing his thing, of course, the best player, obviously, on that team. But I think he was too young to really call the shots. So he left, came down to Miami. The thing is with Miami, they didn't really, we didn't really trade. We didn't really trade. We got LeBron out of free agency. We got Chris Bosh. We got Mac Miller. Ray out of free agency. We really was building out of free agency more so the trades. And we won. Should have got, 4 rings. But hey, we won 2. LeBron won 2. Then he decided to go back to Cleveland. That's when the whole GM comments, the whole GM stuff came to light. Because this is what happened, right? You already going back. Well, mind you, he left and Cleveland was terrible after he left. Went from a finals team to a bottom of the league team. They were terrible. And then after he left Miami, since LeBron left to now, we had a finals appearance. And we've been to the playoffs almost every year except for like 2 years. And LeBron been gone for almost, he's been gone for about 8 years now. I wouldn't really say that's a franchise killer. I wouldn't really say that for Miami. Now back to Cleveland. Now it starts to get interesting. You go and you trade for Kevin Love. Now you traded Andrew Wiggins. You traded he was too young, but now I guess you could say he's okay. Made his first ever made his first ever All-Star appearance this year, but and then you got probably the worst number 1 pick of all time, and Anthony Bennett. You traded him also, and then you got Kevin Love back. So that's tough. I mean, I wouldn't really call that a terrible thing. Oh, and you gave away a 2015 first rounder. So that's not too crazy. You lost the first rounder, but hey, then you end up losing. So it's like, you know what? That's not enough. I need to go get my guy. Mind you, Dwayne Wade was over there in Chicago. He said, I need to go get Dwayne Wade. He's not what he used to be, but that's my dog. We're going to see if we can run it back. It didn't even last a few months. Until they traded a second-round pick in 2024 for Dwayne Wade. So that was a waste of a pick because he wasn't even there he was there for a few months. That was a waste. So now Cleveland doesn't have a pick in 2024. But outside of that, he built out a free agency. Really, there wasn't really a lot of trades going on. Well, besides You traded Kyrie. But so then he leaves Cleveland. Cleveland was terrible until this year. But before that, they were terrible. But I wouldn't really say that Cleveland was in desperate need because they've had top 3 picks or top 5 picks since LeBron's been gone. So I wouldn't really say that they've been going through it picks wise. And now you've got the Lakers. For sure, I think the Lakers after LeBron leaves is going to go through it. I think they're going to go through it. I think this is the only team that I can say LeBron killed them for the future. Because check it, right? You go there. You got all your young stars. You got everybody. You got Lonzo, Brandon Ingram. You got all those boys. And they were, probably on the way to the playoffs if LeBron didn't get hurt for a significant amount of time. They were probably on their way.
Right.
Do they go far? No, but they're on their way to the playoffs. So in the offseason, LeBron gets hurt. Well, the offseason, they're like, nah, I can't do this. I need Anthony Davis. So you trade Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and 3 first-round picks for Anthony Davis. I mean, I guess at the time you could say that was good. Because it was like, oh, you get Anthony Davis, bro. That's tough, bro. But and then you got your ring. So now it looked like it, maybe it was a good trade. And then you looking like, oh, well, now Anthony Davis, the past 2 years after the ring, he don't got that fire. He can't stay on the court. And you got Lonzo. He was doing his thing with the Pelicans, him and Zion. He was doing his thing there, and then he went to Chicago. Now they're second in the East. He was definitely doing his thing before he went out with an injury. Brandon Ingram, he's still on the Pelicans, but all his numbers were going up since leaving the Lakers. So he increased. He got better. Josh Hart, he definitely got better. And those 3 first-round picks, that's tough. I look to see if those what or when the picks were. I didn't get that far, but I bet you had those picks now.
The
I bet you had those
Lakers?
picks. Yeah, I bet the Lakers had those picks now. So now you're thinking. So now you get okay. I got Anthony Davis. I want a ring, but we got bounced out last year. Why did we get bounced out? Defense, man. Well, I also don't have a reliable team. Kyle Kuzma, he was selling. KCP, he wasn't terrible, but he was selling at times. Montrezl Harrell, he didn't even get no play time. But so you're like, you know what? Oh, Russell Westbrook saying he wanted to come to LA? All right, but let's get Russell Westbrook. Mind you, LeBron and Westbrook are cool. So the thought of Westbrook was like, oh, that's the new big 3 for LA. And this is what you trade for Russell Westbrook. Kyle Kuzma, who's flourishing by himself over there in Washington. I think he's had, back-to-back 30-point games. He's averaging 20, I think almost a double-double. But you trade Kuzma, you trade Pope, you trade Montrezl Harrell, and I believe the number 20, the 22nd pick in the draft, and a 2024 second round pick, a 2028 second round pick for Russell Westbrook, and he's not even doing it. He's having the worst season of his career. People wanted him gone the first 2 months of him being there. And then you wanted to trade for John Wall. You wanted to trade Russell Westbrook and a first Wall in 2 years.
That would be interesting.
Y'all throwing picks away for players that are old number one, but out of their prime, or getting out of it, or hitting a decline. I'll say that. Westbrook, I don't think it's him. I think it's the scenery. I think it's the Lakers. You got LeBron. He's really the guy with the ball. And it's just when Westbrook was by himself, that was when he could do his own thing. I think he was more comfortable by himself. But with
Right.
two other
Makes sense.
superstars, I don't see it. Because even with KD and I guess young Harden, that team was good, but Westbrook was because it was KD. KD and Harden
Mhm.
leave. OKC still good. They're a playoff team, but all of a sudden these triple doubles coming out of nowhere. He's the lone wolf in OKC. He's doing great, top 75 all time. But as far as the second stint in Cleveland and Miami, I wouldn't say he ruined them just because Cleveland is having success now and Miami didn't really stop having success. But the Lakers in the future is definitely going to have some problems. Definitely going to have some problems because they still got Anthony Davis under contract and they don't even know if he's going to be 100%. And then you still got Russell Westbrook. So, and who knows what LeBron's going to do. LeBron said he already going to leave when his son get in there. But who knows if he's going to leave prior to go somewhere else. Who knows? He said he wouldn't. He said the door's not closed and going back to Cleveland. He said the door's not
Interesting.
closed, but hey.
Okay, you made a lot of interesting points. So you're basically saying you're agreeing, except for the Lakers situation, that he is a team killer.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, honestly, I think he's the opposite. I say he's a team builder. After 20, I'll start with the Cavs. I'll go team by team. I'll dig deep into team by team. The Cavs in 2009 and 10, they lost LeBron. The year before, they were 61-21, and they made it all the way to the conference finals where they lost to the Celtics, of course, and that was it for Bron. He left the Cavs. They became one of the worst teams, like you said, but it wasn't all his fault, though. They lost their head coach, Mike Brown. They had a rookie head coach and Byron Scott, Lakers shooting guard from back in the day. Obviously, the roster without Bron wasn't that good to begin with. They had an old Shaq last year. He retired, I'm pretty sure. No, he went to the Celtics. I think he went to the Celtics. So they was left with not a talented roster at all. I mean, there was Baron Davis, Antoine Jameson, JJ Hickson, Daniel Gibson, Verjao, Mo Williams, Ryan Hollins, and you get the point. So going into that season, obviously, they weren't really prepared to win, obviously. Next season, though, they, of course, draft Kyrie Irving. This is where drafted Kyrie. They also drafted Tristan Thompson. And they finished 2 games from last year better. Obviously, their roster still wasn't that good. But they got a point guard for the future, which is very important in this case, actually. So moving forward, as Cleveland struggled until it was around 2014, we noticed Bron didn't want to play for the Heat anymore. He returns back to Cleveland. And you brought up the Kevin Love trade they made in the offseason. I think this was a good trade. I think Cleveland made the good trade here. I mean, in hindsight, look at it. Andrew Wiggins, like you said, he just became an all-star. And Anthony Bennett, God knows what he's doing nowadays. So they got Kevin Love, a guy who could produce right away. And I think this was very important for LeBron. And overall, Justin, you gotta think, what's the main goal in the NBA? It's to win a championship. And you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. So making this trade for Kevin Love propelled them to ultimately take the team to the finals. They lost to the Warriors this year. And it was, I mean, injuries, they lost in 6. People said, oh, we had Kyrie, Kevin Love, whatever. They win the finals that year. No, who knows? Probably. Next year, they got their revenge. They finished first in the Eastern Conference with David Blatt actually being fired and replaced by Tyronn Lue, who David was 30-11 with the team, and Tyronn Lue finished 27-14. So that was an interesting firing. I don't know. It was more of a personal decision, honestly. People blame LeBron for this firing. But they were able to get a ring with Ty Lue as the head coach. LeBron James, Kyrie, Kevin Love. He built that team. The Cavs were able to build a solid team and go to the finals that year. That's when they got the ring. And then next season, he talked about the team. They thought they could run it back, but obviously they ran into the KD Warriors. I mean, and at least they got there to the finals, struggling a little bit. It was pretty easy, though, for them. I mean, they beat the Pacers round 1, swept them, swept the Raptors, who a lot of people had, competing against the Cavs that year. And then they beat Boston in 5 this year. So before the finals, they only lost 1 game, which is very good. I think that tones to, the trade. LeBron trading Kevin Love. I mean, I don't think Andrew Wiggins and Anthony Bennett really going to produce a lot of numbers anyways, being besides LeBron. So they made it to the finals, lost, of course. Now this year, 2017, 2018, you talked about, was really when the bomb detonated. Kyrie, he felt like he wanted to be his own man, and he got traded to Boston for Isaiah Thomas, I think Jeff Green, Jay Crowder, and I think a pick for Kyrie. And it was, at the time, I knew something was up with Isaiah Thomas' hip injury, but I don't know why Cleveland did the trade, because the year prior, they took the Celtics 7 games, and that was with Isaiah Thomas, not 7 games. They took them to 5 games. And it was with Isaiah Thomas and them, but Isaiah Thomas got injured after game 1. Who knows if he plays? I mean, that's 30 points per game that season. Now, Isaiah Thomas was playing really good. They could have probably did something. But this year, they got traded. He got traded to Cavs and barely played, ultimately leading to his downfall in the NBA. Kind of, he just signed a 10-day contract with the Hornets today, and so Cavs roster was Jay Crowder, Clarkson, and had D Wade, Jeff Green, George Hill. They called it the old man roster, kind of what they're doing with the Lakers. And then they got rid of, like you said, Wade. I'm pretty sure they got rid of Jordan Clarkson. They got rid of him. Got rid of Jeff Green. And
Will Clarkson's doing good too.
Yeah, he is. Did he win 6-man, or was that Ingles?
No, he got 6-man.
Yeah,
he won 6-man.
Yeah, 3 players. They got rid of Derrick Rose and Isaiah Thomas, of course. So, but they bought in. They bought in Rodney Hood, not really doing anything. And he on the team. He's not even on the team, I'm pretty sure. They bought in Larry Nance Jr., who at the time was very valuable for them. And pretty sure that was it with their trades. So they were able to make a final run. Of course, I mean, it's LeBron. They beat the Pacers barely in 7, beat the Raptors 4-0, beat the Celtics in 7, and got swept by the KD Warriors.
Yeah.
But moving forward, obviously, I think LeBron had enough, and he left this season. He left next season, and then the Cavs, they started being worst team in the league again. They finished 14th. Ty Lue, he went 0-6 and then got fired. And Larry Drew took over and finished 1957, so not much better. This roster really had nobody. I mean, Kevin Love, he barely played this season too. And Kyrie and LeBron out. So they were set up to fail, but now you can say Bron actually helped them. I mean, Kevin Love still there. He's actually playing really good this season off the bench for them. They were able to draft Colin Sexton. They got Kevin Porter that year. Dante Exum and Darius Garland. And so they got some new guards that year. And then later they traded for Andre Drummond. They were able to move Andre Drummond next season as well. And now you see the season they're having this year. They got Jared Allen last year put on top of that from that Nets trade. They would bring in and draft Isaac Okoro that offseason. So with the Cavs, I feel like they didn't really lose too much in trading the pieces he traded because they ultimately won a ring. I mean, that's the ultimate goal in the NBA.
Right.
So I think he built up the Cavs greatly to probably being even more successful now. I mean, like you talked about, he thinking about going back. They're playing really good this season. So we'll see what happens with that. Moving on to the Heat, though. The Heat, like you brought up, you said y'all were never really a bad basketball team, which is kind of true. Y'all were never bad enough to tank for a high pick. The year he left Miami, y'all finished 37-45. Y'all had Bron, D. Wade. Of course, he was dealing with injuries this season. And basically almost the same roster, minus LeBron from the championship team.
Right.
And then moving forward, D. Wade, he left the Heat, decided to get some more money this offseason. And y'all really didn't have a high enough draft pick. I mean, 37-45. That finished 21st, I think. So y'all had top 10, and y'all wasted on Justice Winslow. I'm pretty sure that draft. Yeah,
You could have had Devin Booker. It hurts me to this day.
Drafted Justice Winslow. Y'all traded for old Amari Stoudemire. Picked up Josh Richardson, though, which wasn't bad. Joe Johnson played for the team a little bit, Gerald Green. So it seemed like y'all were trying to build depth mixed in with youth, which is obviously working nowadays with y'all. Y'all finished 48-34 this year, finished third in the conference. So I'm pretty sure the Wade was still on this team. I think this was the year y'all beat the Hornets in the first round. Yeah. And then lost in 7 to the Raptors the next round. So, I mean, you've got a draft pick. I mean, a young player you just missed with Justice Winslow. Next season, though, that's when Bosh and Wade left. Still finished 41-41, 9th in the conference. At Josh Richardson, this was a year Hassan and Deion Waiters were just really good for y'all that year. With Goran Dragic on top of that. So y'all didn't make the playoffs, but weren't bad enough to draft either. So y'all didn't have a high pick. Going into next year, I think y'all with the pick though, I'm pretty sure y'all drafted Bam. This is where y'all drafted Bam. And he's turning out really good as a versatile center. And this year, y'all bought D Wade back. I think this was his last year. Finished 6th in the conference. I mean, once again, an average team, not really going in that direction, not really bad enough to be in last or have a high pick, not really good enough to win a championship. Y'all lost to the Sixers in 5 this round.
Yeah.
2018, 2019, y'all building up what happened. This was actually D-Wade's last year. And y'all drafted Duncan Robinson. This is where y'all got him, which y'all picked. Y'all
Right.
finished 10th in the conference. And y'all also picked up Derrick Jones Jr., Tyler Johnson. So pretty much the same roster y'all been going through. I mean, so with LeBron, how this mixed with LeBron's case, I mean, you can't really say he ruined y'all either. I mean,
Yeah.
once again, he got y'all 2 rings before leaving.
Mhm.
And going forward, y'all obviously are a very good team right now, fighting for first seed in the East.
Mhm.
And y'all honestly, draft picks, y'all never, like I said, y'all were never really bad enough to get a high draft pick player.
Yeah.
So y'all still have a championship caliber team, especially due to the coaching. And can't really blame Braun. I mean, there wasn't a lot of destruction with y'all. I feel like because in Miami, rather than in Cleveland, y'all had Pat Riley, one of the best GMs and executive owners up there. So, and a great head coach in Eric Spoelstra. So I don't think LeBron's gravity of leaving affected y'all greatly. Now you brought up the Lakers. This is the last team. Lakers. You said they destroyed him for the future, possibly. Well, when he joined the team, I mean, what were they doing prior? They weren't really doing much prior to getting LeBron. I'm pretty sure they was off another losing season and missed the playoffs. I'm pretty sure Kobe retired 3 years before Bron joined.
Yeah.
So they were ending another era with another player, superstar caliber player, and they picked up Lonzo Ball, like you brought up, which is a good draft pick for them. Brandon Ingram. No, they picked up. They already had Lonzo Ball. My bad. But when LeBron joined, it was him, KCP, Brandon Ingram, and everybody else was role players. Josh Hart. So he had a lot of role players, but didn't really have the championship pieces yet. And that year, he got injured. They missed the playoffs. Last year, well, 2019-20, that's when they made the big trade for Anthony Davis, I'm pretty sure. And you brought up how they traded Ingram. I mean, Ingram next to LeBron, they're kind of similar, except Ingram, he needs the ball just like Bron, but he's more efficient than like a Westbrook, obviously with the basketball.
Mhm.
Lonzo and Bron, like I said, he's fighting for touches. Lonzo is doing really good in Chicago, anyways. Not even on the team that he got traded to anymore. Not Kyle Kuzma this year, and Josh Hart. Josh Hart got traded to the Pelicans. He's not even on that team either anymore. He's on the Trailblazers now. So, I mean, call it what you want, but I think LeBron made the right move here. Trying to win now, you're getting older. They didn't win this year. Oh well, no, they did. Yeah, they win. They did win their first year with AD. So, granted a bubble year, but that's besides the point. Going forward to last season, they dealt with injuries throughout the whole season. They bought in Montrezl Harrell, Marcus Gasol, Taylor Horton Tucker started emerging, Wesley Matthews, Ben McLemore, Dennis Schroeder, Markieff Morris. And this year, like I said, injuries, even though I still think if they were healthy, I don't know if they beat Phoenix that year due to like their chemistry at least. Their chemistry in Phoenix was really good. And I just felt like no matter what the Lakers did, even if they had the younger players, I don't think they're beating Phoenix Suns last year. So
no.
So I don't think a trade impacts that. Then, of course, everybody knows the trade that happened this season with Westbrook going to Lakers and got rid of Kuzma. Yeah, I still think he needed a new environment. I mean, a lot of Lakers fans want him gone anyway, so he's gone.
Yeah.
KCP, I feel like that's probably their biggest piece because he was a veteran who could shoot and play defense. They lost him, and they also lost Dennis Schroeder this offseason. He didn't do much for the Lakers anyways when he was playing. They bought in Malik Monk, though, Avery Bradley, Dwight Howard, and Ken Bazemore, Stanley Johnson, Trevor Ariza. I mean, they made a lot of great pickups, though, but people come back to the Westbrook point. You can't really say it's all on Westbrook. It is his first, and you can't really say the opposite. Like, it's his first year, like people sometimes use. It takes time to gel because we see what DeMar DeRozan's doing in his first year with Chicago.
Yep.
Have an MVP season. So can't really use either excuses. I think it comes back to the fit. I mean, LeBron needs the ball in his hands ultimately.
Right.
The Lakers should have known that from the championship team they had literally the season before. They just were injured, and then they got rid of Kuzma, who still needed. I feel like they could have kept KCP. Kuzma, they probably could have shipped him somewhere else if it was that big of a deal.
Right.
And they lost Schroeder. Who cares, honestly? But if they really didn't need to make a trade, like what was difference between the bubble year they won with LeBron AD and now? I mean, the year prior, it was just injuries. I don't know why they felt like they needed a trade. That's really like the only reason I feel like they made the move was just for regular season purposes, which is not working out because they expected Westbrook, like to carry a load when an AD got hurt, like they predicted this season, or when LeBron wanted to take nights off. And now they're 26-34. I feel like that's not really on LeBron ruining the team, though. I feel like that's more of a management decision. Like, why would you get rid of what worked and bring in something just to load manage your two best players? Well, someone. And so my last point is the draft picks. 2021, 2024 to 2024 is the Pelicans picks. I mean, if LeBron does leave and like either next year or the year after, those picks to the Pelicans won't really be that important because the Lakers would still have AD under contract. Granted his injuries, I mean, you could always trade him back for picks if you really wanted to. So
I don't know if there's a lot of people going to take him when he's injury prone.
That is true, but you could think of the upside with him. I mean, they got a ring together, though, and he was a very key part that season.
I mean,
one of the best power forwards, still healthy when he's healthy.
That's tough. That is tough. But hey, man, that's gonna wrap up this episode. Let us know what you guys think. Is LeBron a franchise killer? Dang, man, that's tough. But got a banger for y'all next time. I ain't gonna say what it is, but we got something for you. But until then,
Yes, sir.
It's your boys Juice and Lou, and we out here. Peace.
Molly off the drum, I got